Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody for tuning in to another episode of the sports-oriented Wokeism show. I'm your host Solomon Wafua, and my job in this show is to dig dive is to deep I mean is to dig deep into the world of sports culture, whereby the sports industry is being infested by wokeism. We all know that wokeism is the combination of ignorance of truth and common sense, and arrogance of self in order to create a political system whereby it censors free speech, where it cancels somebody who goes against their narrative, and will do anything to cause harm's way to those who are not following in their order. So that's what wokeism is all about, and it has penetrated into every form of every sector of society, either civil or business wise. It has affected all rounded, and also in every sector of the economy. And that is why, for me as your host in this sports oriented wokeism show, my job is just to break down every headline, every sports cultural headline that is being used for the work agenda, and be able to give you guys conversation to interact with your loved ones, with your friends, or even with your with your buddies from wherever you are around the world. And I hope that just having a conversation is the beginning of changing the sports culture within and around us. So that's the intro for this show. But hey, for those of you who have contributed in the last episode, thank you so much. I can't appreciate you enough. I know the channel is in its humble beginnings, and we're going to grow as time moves on. And I know that today is going to be a good episode for all of you who are tuning in from wherever you are at whatever time zone you're in. I hope you enjoy this episode. Now, of course, uh, going straight to the point, today's episode is going to be about the highlights of the 2024 NBA All-Star Weekend, mainly focusing on the three-point contest, because that's what is being most talked about throughout last weekend. Of course, before I talk about the three-point contest, which had two types that happened on Saturday night, of course, I'm going to give you highlights of how it went down in the other events from Friday all the way to Sunday. Of course, starting with Friday, we had everything to do with the rookies and the sophomores playing against each other. Uh, Team Jalen won the Rising Stars Challenge, winning that contest. Of course, the team led by Jalen Ross, the ex-SPN basketball analyst, and also a retired NBA player who has won a championship with the uh, Detroit Pistons, if I'm not wrong, or used to play for the Pistons and also the Indiana Pacers. And hey, his team won the Rising Stars Challenge. And then if you look at what happened on Saturday, you had the Skills Challenge, which was won by Team Indiana Pacers. You look at the dunk contest, which was won by the defending champion McClung, Josh McClung. If you look at, of course, everything to do with even the All-Star game on Sunday, it was won by the Eastern Conference by a whooping 25 points. The 25-point gap, the East won. This is the first time they have come back to a original format since, I believe, Kobe retired in 2016 or 2017. But hey, the MVP award went to Damian Lillard, who scored 11 threes and had 39 points. In spite, Carl Anthony Towns scoring 50 points for the West and not winning it. Now, of course, when it comes to the third or fourth quarter, now they have to fight for that individual award, which is the Kobe Bryant All-Star Game MVP. And of course, everybody gave their shot. You look at Tyrese Haliburton, who scored 32 points and had 10 assists. Sorry, and scored 10 threes. You had Kat, who scored 50 points. You had Damian Lillard, who scored 39 points, including 11 threes. So these three, I believe, are the ones who are contesting for that individual award. And it went to Damian Lillard, who became the first All-Star in NBA All-Star history to win both the three-point contest and to win the MVP of the All-Star game. So congrats to him. And not forgetting the Celebrity All-Star game, which happened also on Friday. It was won by Team Shannon, defeating Team Stephen A by 19 points. And the MVP was Micah Parsons of Team Shannon, who had an impressive double-double, 37 points and 19 rebounds or 16 rebounds. And that's how it went in terms of the All-Star weekend. Now, the thing that everybody is talking about is the three-point contest, the regular three-point contest, and also the one-on-one WNBA versus NBA three-point contest. Now, let me start with the regular one. Now, the regular one had 8 contestants, which was broken down into 4, which is the final round. Now, the final 4 ended up with Tyrese Haliburton, Carl Anthony Towns, Trey Young, and Damian Lillard. Those are the 4 that are competing in the final round. Of course, all these 4 qualified despite having a tiebreak, uh, the tiebreaker, and that's how they entered into the final round. And Damian Lillard had to, squash the mini rivalry and ended up with the award and scoring 26 points. And then the rest had 24, both Trey Young and Kat. Yes, those are the final 3, if I'm not wrong. And then now, if you look at the one-on-one, the debut one-on-one NBA versus WNBA three-point contest, now it generated a lot of buzz. I didn't watch the full thing, but I watched the highlights. As the next day awakened. That was on Sunday, and Steph Curry just had to show the world that he's still the king of three-point shooting. Sabrina Ionescu, who has been very impressive, doing it from the NBA three-point line. The only difference is that she used a WNBA ball, meaning the ball was smaller, but with the same ball colors that was being put also for the NBA players. And so, very impressive. She scored 26 points. It was only one round. Steph scored 29 points, meaning he was doing clutch time, because he knows if he doesn't win, we all know how political these kind of conversations are. And he just had to prove once again he's the king of three-point shooting. Now, as Sabrina was doing the shootout first, Steph Curry was just encouraging her in his own way. She scored 26 points. I mean, that was really, really awesome for a woman to really go beyond her limits. I mean, it reminded me of the church service which I attended yesterday on Sunday, where they were talking about that you're supposed to stretch yourself, like go beyond your limits if you want to take new territories. And so that was just one of them. And Sabrina did something remarkable and really boosted, the conversation of, can we do this next year? Now, instead of having one round, can we have 2 rounds? And instead of having 2 players, can we have 2 more players to make it 4? I mean, Sabrina Ionescu has just made, should I say, women's sports even be more watchable just by participating against Steph Curry. Now, of course, you have the woke feminists dominated by black women who are going to cry, sexism, anti-women, that, oh, Steph beat Sabrina. But hey, Sabrina didn't want to really get preferential treatment. How? By doing it from the WNBA three-point line. He says she wants to go out of her comfort zone, let me level the playing field. And she did it remarkably. I mean, 26 points. That's the same number of points that Damian Lillard had winning the three-point contest in the final round. What does that tell you? That tells you that even if she plays in the NBA three-point line, she'll do as good as Damian Lillard. So those 2 people behind Stephen Curry just confirms to the NBA fans and even the WNBA fans that, hey, why can't we have these 3 next year? Steph and them versus Sabrina and maybe Caitlin Clark, who is also the best three-point shooter in women's college basketball. So, I mean, and then that was just the good side of it. But of course, we are going to have a woke person who will hate people like Sabrina Ionescu, who went to stretch herself out, and that is Kenny Smith. Now, Kenny Smith, with all due respect, of course, is part of the Houston Rockets winning team of the mid-90s. He won twice alongside Hakeem Olajuwon, who is now currently a TNT NBA analyst. And reacting to the performance by Sabrina Ionescu just goes to show that even if a woman wants to do the unthinkable, like go outside her comfort zone, you still have some, should I say, people who will downplay because they have never seen a woman do that before. And what Kenny Smith did was just horrible. And he deserves to retract that statement because many people are already asking him to be fired by TNT Sports, and I think that's just a shame. Even we as men, we're supposed to support people like Sabrina, who is going out of our comfort zone to really do something like this and really show that I'm not just an ordinary WM player. I can even do the unthinkable. And so that's what people are really reacting to it. But if you look at overall, what has that impacted the WNBA? It has done a good service to the WNBA because they needed something like this to really generate a buzz on, moving forward in terms of what people like Sabrina, people like Caitlin Clark. I mean, what a good week for women's basketball. I mean, you have Caitlin Clark being the all-time scorer in college basketball on the women's side, and then you have Sabrina Onescu doing the unthinkable on Saturday night. That just goes to tell you that the more the women go outside their comfort zone and really challenge themselves, that this is something that I can learn from that experience, be able to up their game. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what they're going to use in their 3-point shootout exercises moving forward, and that's something positive that someone like Sabrina will take over from there, and she'll even score more threes than last year, where she scored 128 threes. So, uh, to all the work people who thought she could not do that, scoring 26 points tied to Damian Lillard, I mean, the case is solved. They just need to shut their mouths up. And even though the WNBA is ruled by modern feminists, I mean, I think that's just a sigh of relief for them, but that does not solve the bigger problem. And that bigger problem is lack of fan base whenever they turn up to games, making financial losses every calendar year. That is something that they have to solve from the inside out. And if someone like Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA either this year or next year, yes, it will make the league more relevant, but the elephant in the room is, of course, everything to do with the players marketing that product. And if they can change their behavior and mindset, then more people will get to be interested in being a part of the WNBA ecosystem. And so, yeah, that's something I wanted to share today. It's all about the All Star weekend in the NBA. Now it's on a, I believe, 5 day holiday until they resume, I believe, on Friday or Thursday this week. But yeah, that's all I had to share with you, to everybody that is tuning in. Thanks so much to everyone for listening or watching me from wherever you are around the world. Make sure you contribute in the comment section, be it a suggestion, be it a question, be it a comment, and that's something I'll be following up as soon as this episode is done. Make sure you follow, make sure you like, make sure you share it with your friends. Let's spark this conversation. And hey, who knows? This channel will go places one day. And me, as your host, Solomon Wafua, thank you so much for taking your time to being a part of this show. And until next time, it's goodbye.